Hello! 3 signs that an Aries likes you. Okay, number 1 is gonna be pretty obvious, especially for Aries guys, but I mean really for Aries guys and girls. That's one of my favorite things about Aries. I have a soft spot for Aries myself. I definitely I haven't met her yet, but I feel like an Aries woman is definitely one day gonna be the queen of my heart. And I think one of the best things about Aries is this part right here. For those who weren't watching the video and just listening to the audio, that might have seemed really raunchy. This part right here. Anyways, okay, let's get back to focus. So the eyes and the forehead, the eyebrows, it's just so together. It's so focused. And you see this with Aries, any kind of Aries, when they're driven, when they're passionate, just in everyday life, especially if they have Mercury Aries too, but even with Mercury Taurus or Mercury Pisces, there's still just this focus. You can see it in the eyes that's one of their greatest gifts. And sometimes, again, our gifts can be our challenges. Sometimes they're a little bit too focused and it's a little bit much, but we'll get to that. But the eyes they show their interest in a very clear way. Whereas, I'm a Gemini, so I'm over here, I'm registering things mentally. I'm not necessarily like, this is who I'm focused on or anything like that. And of course, every other sun sign will have their own kind of thing. The fire energies in general are pretty obvious with their eyes, but Aries takes the cake in a certain way of just being able to look. And it's like they're almost like, even if they're not moving, their momentum is like pushing them in that direction. So if they're looking at you like that, where they're just like this, and you can see they're fully engaged, there's no doubt, there's no anything like that, that's a pretty great sign that they like you. And I think something else that's great is they might even tell you, hey, I like you. Oh, okay, that's a pretty good sign too. So if they're showing you their full attention, all right, great, sounds good. As per the challenging part that we were just talking about, that can be a little bit much if you're not quite sure if you like them, or it's a delicate game with any kind of fire sign, especially with an Aries, if they really like you and you're not quite sure about them, because that can turn off a fire sign really quick, and then all of a sudden they're cold, like icy cold to you, perhaps. Not to say that they couldn't rekindle that flame or anything, but I think it's really good to keep in mind to not play with anybody's feelings, but especially not a fire person's feelings, for a couple of reasons. 1, you'll get burned. 2, more importantly, in so many ways, is just to be empathetic and compassionate. And because they feel so deeply and so rawly and dynamically, any fire sign, but especially in Aries, it's really important to not... It's great to be flattered by that gaze, and it's really easy to enjoy it and to keep wanting it, but don't feed the flame unless you're going to stick around to be warmed by it. And if you're going to stick around to keep feeding it, not necessarily in an unhealthy way of just like giving time and energy that's not right to give, that's unhealthy to give, that's like draining to give, not that, but just be mindful of if you burst somebody's flame into, like, you give them attention, you lead them on or anything like that, it's your responsibility for what happens. Let's quick thing. Everybody needs to have personal responsibility. Okay, so it's not actually completely your responsibility. Obviously, the Aries needs to take responsibility for their thoughts and their actions and whatnot, but karmically, it's your responsibility. If you're gonna lead somebody on, and either subconsciously or consciously, especially consciously, but even subconsciously, where you're like, ooh, I like this attention I'm getting. Ooh, yes, it's nice to feel wanted. I think especially from an Aries man to a female perspective, it's just really important that you be mindful that you're talking with somebody, maybe flirting with somebody who feels really strongly, and it's just, don't hurt their heart. It's a very precious thing. Okay, number 2, they'll want to do their favorite stuff with you. This is to show you who they are, because the Aries identity in so many ways identifies with action, so what they're doing and what they can do, and it shows how awesome they are too. So they're going to want to show off in front of you. Maybe not quite so obviously in a way as Leo, where Leo's like, sit down, you're the audience member, and here I am. Aries is a little bit more like, let's do something together, and I'm going to compete, and I'm going to show you how good I am, and there can be like a sexy fun, like they'll beat you at something that they really love to do, or you'll be on the same team, and they will work together and do incredible things. That's something that is always great with an Aries, and if you find that you and they are collaborating a lot or doing stuff that you both like, that's a really good sign that they like you, because they also want to see you do your favorite stuff, and they want to see you show off, because ultimately, even if it's not quite as much as like a Leo, an Aries wants to feel really proud of their partner. An Aries does want to be as proud of their partner as a Leo wants to be proud of their partner. And same with the Sagittarius too. It's that kind of fire energy, I think, especially with Aries and Leo in a lot of ways. But ultimately, again, it's going to be focused more on less about who a person is, where that might be a little bit more the Leo thing, and more about what they do. It's subtle. They're very closely related, but because ultimately, I mean, for all of us, identity is tied with action, and what we do makes who we are. But in any case, I think that's one of the greatest signs is they are able, and that's something that's good to keep in mind, is a healthy Aries is going to build up their partner, is going to encourage their partner. They're going to want to see you shine. They're going to want to see you thrive and do your awesome stuff. Not only because, yes, like it does make them happy, like, ooh, that's my partner, but it's also a sense of, it's just a healthy Aries wants to see everybody shine. And that's one of the beautiful things about Aries people, is they have that raw sense of joy and of optimism and of innocence, of purity of intention, if they're healthy. And again, we all have our spectrum of healthy to unhealthy, and they want to see, they want to be a part of it, not just see it, but they want to be a part of helping you to grow and to get better at whatever it is that is important to you. That's something else to keep in mind, is if you and the Aries are interested in doing different things as per like the big things in life, the big passions, then that could be difficult to reconcile, and maybe then it's not meant to be. But it's definitely a great sign that if y'all are able to do stuff together that you both are really passionate about, as well as to play together, that's really important too. That's a great sign, again, is they're playing their favorite games with you. That's a wonderful chance for you to and them to have that kind of competitive thing that an Aries needs really in a partnership, to feel like they're getting better, you're getting better, and it's just all fun. And again, what's great is then you can make up and have you can cooperate afterwards, or even during the games, but especially afterwards. Okay, and number 3, they will be really sensitive to you, loving when you're happy with them, and becoming if they're unhealthy, they can become angry or frustrated when you're not showing them attention. Even if they're healthy, in Aries, like all fire energy individuals, are really in touch with their inner child. And that is the greatest gift and greatest challenge they have to offer. Everybody has greatest gifts and challenges. This is something that an Aries should not change about themselves. Not that they could anyways, but it's a beautiful quality. In a way, because Aries is the cardinal fire, it's the first energy out of the entire zodiac. So it is the birth of spring, at least in the northern hemisphere, and that birth of spring shows in every Aries, regardless of what hemisphere they're born in. They have this spark, the beginning, the ram. It's this beautiful infant type energy of, I'm here, I exist, I'm ready to party, I'm ready to get stuff done, I'm ready to do stuff, I'm ready to conquer stuff, I'm ready to move forward, yeah. And that's a really wonderful thing. Even a healthy Aries can get frustrated, maybe even angry. I think frustrated is more the purview of the emotional range that we're going here, because an unhealthy Aries can lose their temper. Anger is not necessarily a sign of an unhealthy Aries, but if they're getting angry about stuff and blowing stuff out of proportion, that's an unhealthy Aries. And then it's like, should I really be with this person? They have some issues. But even healthy Aries can get frustrated if you're not showing them attention. And I think it's something that's really good to keep in mind is early in the relationship, they'll be a lot more sensitive to your attention. So if you're not giving it, this is tricky because sometimes for an Aries, again, if they're unhealthy, then that can also that could be a red flag for later on of if they're still that needy. But in the beginning, I think it's good to keep in mind that an Aries can be especially needy in the beginning. If they're healthy, it won't be like burdensome or cumbersome. It won't be too much. But that being said, I mean, what is too much is subjective. Just keep this in mind. Again, they're like a giant child in the best possible way. I said the same thing for the Leo video. And you have to treat them, you have to be patient with them. There is a certain amount of, in a sense, and I don't mean this in any kind of condescending way, but there is a sense of education with an Aries, where you're leading them to greater places of understanding, because they have that raw energy of just wanting to be at peace, wanting to make sure that everything is good between you two, wanting all these good things, and they're just raw love, and it's incredible. But sometimes they need to be taught so they can understand, just because I'm focused on this, just because I'm getting work done, or just because this or that doesn't mean I don't like you. And again, this is a lot more so in the beginning as time goes on and as an Aries matures. So both as the relationship matures and as the Aries as an individual matures, irrespective of the relationship, they'll chill out and they'll know that, yeah, my partner is at this party with me and they're talking to that person, but we've been together for 7 years or even 7 months. And, well, maybe a little more than that. That's a particular kind of, that can be a tricky situation for an Aries. But then again, Aries are incredibly independent. So it also comes down to how it's not just quantity of time, it's also about quality of time. As a partner to the Aries, are you giving them the assurance that they need? Are you giving them the time and attention and really the attention, the quality of attention, that same thing that an Aries offers? Are you giving that in return in your own particular way? There's no need to try and be anyone other than who you are. It's not right for any relationship. But it's just really good to keep in mind that when an Aries likes you, and even when you're married for a long period of time or something, they like being part of a team. It's important to remember that Aries is the warrior and they fight for the ones that they love, and it gives them so much energy. Again, they're very independent in a way as well. But ultimately they thrive when they have somebody who's a true teammate, somebody who is the love of their life, and they can rely upon to be there for them. And when they're there physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they're present, they're paying attention to the Aries. An Aries needs that. Everybody needs that to some extent, but an Aries really needs that. And again, if they're healthy, then they won't blow it out of proportion and they'll be able to understand and be reasonable. But it's not abnormal. It's actually quite normal for even healthy Aries to still be really sensitive to the one that they love, because it's like if they're not treating me right, if I feel like I'm not getting my needs met by this person, why am I even doing this? And it can bring a lot of existential crisis in other ways. But again, if they're healthy, they'll be working on that and they'll be able to develop, because again, Aries is very independent, but not quite like a Leo in a sense. And ultimately nobody's independent enough that they, no person is an island, as the saying says. But in Aries, it can be funny how they're independent, but just like Libra, the partner energy, they need that kind of partner energy too. Not to be happy, not to be content, not to be whole. Nobody needs anybody else to be self-actualized and to be in a good place psychologically. But once that all is taken care of, or even in the process, especially better after it's taken care of, that self-actualization, or in the process of a person, Aries or not, taking care of their needs and whatnot, it's nice for an Aries to know that their partner is really there for them. As always, I'm doing readings. To book a reading with me, the info is in the about section, and I'm working on a book. I've already written like 250,000 words, and I'm editing it right now, so it's not quite done at the making of this video. Maybe it's already done by the time you watch this. The info of when it'll be ready, or the info to be able to buy the book, is also in the about section. And the book is about all the different astrological natal chart placements. I'm pouring the last decade of being an astrologer into this book, and it's been really fun to write, and I'm excited to finish it, offer it to the world. And you can find out about Sun and Aries, and you can check out the depths of their chart, the moon energy, the rising energy of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, the midheaven. Did I say moon? I don't know, but moon also. And you can check out your chart. There's so much information, and I've put a lot of time and effort into it, and if I say so myself, it's really great. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. Peace.